Hey, spooky friends, and welcome to The Three Twisted Sisters, hosted by Britt.
Kay.
And Lexi.
And on tonight's episode, we are going to be talking all about our mother's haunted house. So, before we dive into that, I just want to have a little breakdown. How's your guys' not
Breakdown!
It's time to break down. No, I want to break down our week. How did you guys? Anything fun or exciting happen? I'll start with mine. I'm 2 weeks post-op. Successful surgery. Yeah.
Yay!
Successful surgery. It went fantastic.
Yes. Thank goodness. Pumpkin spice is back.
Yep.
Say it again.
My hubby comes home
Spice
this
is
week.
back. Oh,
Yes.
yes. So exciting.
What about you guys?
Oh my gosh, you want to hear them? I have to hold the emotional support dog for this one.
She knew.
You want to hear what happened at work? Okay, so I'm a very coordinated person.
No.
Generally.
Absolutely.
Super not clumsy at all, ever. So I'm at my desk, and we have these like really nice computer chairs. They're like gamer chairs, but they're designed to lean back, not forward. Well, I'm 5 feet tall, basically, so I can't touch the floor. This is important. So
She's a fucking little dwarf in this chair.
if I want to touch the floor, I have to scoot forward so that my feet are on the floor. So I accidentally, in the middle of a Zoom meeting, kicked the cord and the screen shut off. And so normally when that happens, I can normally just kick the cord again and it turns back on. But of course, this didn't happen. So I'm like, I kick it a couple times and I'm like, oh crap. And the camera's off on the Zoom, just so everyone knows. So there's no video proof of this happened, thank God. But I leaned forward and I put my feet on the ground. Well, that made to look under the desk, and that made the chair flip over on top of me. So although the
during
camera's
your
off,
meeting.
yeah, so even if the camera's off, the sound is still on.
Oh
and
my
I'm sitting next to my friend, and she's like horrified, looking like, oh my, and I'm like, I'm okay. And then I look back at her and I'm like, shut up. And then I sit the chair back up. I'll try to be quiet. And then I try to fix the thing. And it was super great. Afterwards, we all had a really great laugh. And then same day, I'm walking in between two coworkers, right? And one of them just ordered lunch with a credit card. And she's like, oh, hey, Kayla, can you give this back to this guy? And I turn around, not knowing what she's talking about. And like a freaking ninja, she throws the credit card at me down the hall, thinking that it's just going to like glide right into my hand.
This is hazing people.
All I see is a credit card like coming straight for my eyes. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude. But I
In the time as it's spinning. Oh my gosh.
But I try to dodge it, so I lean back, and then I like lean back a couple times, and then I hit it with my arm, and it just like flopped right down on the ground. And we're all laughing, like, what the heck just happened? And then they were calling me Neo, and like, we didn't know you could do the Matrix. And I was like, yeah,
Either. I would have just like blinked you in the head.
I was worried it was gonna poke my eye out or something. You're like a ninja star. I was like, this is gonna kill me. And yeah, and now my back hurts.
Oh no.
I don't know which one it was, but either the chair falling on top of me.
It's like none of those reasons.
Yeah.
Your back's like, nah, bitch.
Yeah.
It's another.
So that was that's my everyday life. Lexi.
It was honestly pretty good. I found a new park.
Oh,
Nice.
And they had monkey bars. and I was there for it.
Yeah, you're nuts on the monkey bars.
You were
When
so
she does,
strong
like,
as a child.
Thank
you are. When she does the thing where she's like pull up, jump, twist around, jump. Like, who are you flipping around? We're super secret spies when we're not working on the podcast.
We're the Charlie's Angels.
Yeah. We're doing the Matrix. We're flipping around
Kayla,
like a
goes to
gymnast.
the lasers.
Yeah.
And I like the fun things.
Yeah. So now you guys know. Brittany, what's your superpower?
That's what I was trying to think. I'm like,
She's like the operation.
Yeah,
like
she's the computer.
She's the mastermind. She's like,
here we go, people.
unlocked now.
Okay, I'm hacking into the system.
There we go. We're
She's like,
perfect
Kayla, I
team.
couldn't get the lasers down, but you can
You can do this.
I'll guide you. I
Do
can
it.
see
You got this. And I'm like, so that was a fun time. I'm gonna really try extra hard to be coordinated tomorrow.
It's not possible.
It's not.
But Alex is like a little mini, one of those like ninja warrior competitions where you
Yes.
do all the up like so much body strength. It's crazy.
No, let me tell you guys. So we moved from California to Texas, right? Okay. And this is a place that gets hurricanes. And we're like, oh, we got this. We're not in the flood zone. We know so much about hurricanes. Okay, we don't know anything about hurricanes at all. Like absolute shit. We don't know anything. Well, when a hurricane hits, it can flood, right? And
You don't
so
say.
we're like, we're not in the flood zone.
I had no idea.
So we're good. And they're like, well, during Harvey, your town flooded. And we were like, oh, what? And I was like, okay, well, we live in a 1-story house. Like what would we do? Like, we have no furniture. We're 5 feet tall. We have no furniture that goes up high at all. And I'm like, oh my God. So the first thing I thought of was, oh, we'll just go in the attic. And then the first thing you thought of was, we'll just go in the attic. Well, what happens if you go in the attic? You're trapped. So you're not supposed to go in your attics.
Really?
Yeah. So then I was like, we got to get on the roof somehow, but we don't have a ladder. But we're fucking 5 feet tall. Let me say it again. And we don't have a ladder. And we were like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to like toss the animals and the kids up there? And like, what the heck? And like, so our front door is like that wide, right? And she was like, I'll just like climb up it and then hoist you guys all up. I was like, how are you gonna do that? Yeah.
In my mind, it is the best possible solution.
Yeah.
I got the muscles here.
So
Back it up.
if we get hit with a hurricane, you know.
Get your
Pray
very
for
own Marvel superhero under your roof.
Marvel?
Marvel superhero.
Oh, me.
No.
I was like, my dog, she's sleeping.
I know. I was like, what the hell is she gonna do? Aww, cute girl. Yeah. So
Good stuff.
that's us.
We hope that you guys had, our listeners, that you guys all have had a great week and that your weekend coming up is fantastic. Other than that, let's go ahead and dive into the episode topic. So, our mother's house. I want to start off with a little bit of a background on energy lays or ley lines because I think it is.
Sorry. Marvel was like grabbing my arm, so I pet it, and she just snatched her phone.
I'm sorry, that was so funny. Because like she didn't just like move it. She went
Okay.
I take my paw back,
Yeah.
biatch.
But not her head.
No.
She's supposed to lay on me.
Don't pet me.
Just
right
don't.
now.
It's just like
me.
hands off the merchandise. Thank you.
I'm
Alright.
off the clock.
Oh yeah, exactly. Okay. Ley lines. Sorry.
Yes. So ley lines. I think it is.
That's what it is.
So ley lines.
I said the word.
How do I fill that void?
No, if I forgot the word again. Correlation to the experiences we have had at Mom's house. So, for instance, energy lays or ley lines are basically the Earth's crust fractures and like deep underground water is then released or pressurized depending and not to mention the gravitational pull that the sun and the moon both have on the earth. So all if you think of like, oh, there's a little earthquake, there's a crack somewhere down the line where new energy is released or enhanced or positive or negative energy, and not saying like, oh, this is a negative energy, like positive or negatively charged energies. Now, what's interesting, so you would say like, okay, ley lines, they're they cover the globe, very highly energized spaces on Earth. But the cool thing, I think, is that when two ley lines cross over each other, that's when you get a vortex. So vortexes, yes, and vortexes are pretty interesting. Sedona, the most
obvious example.
Thank you. Because Sedona, Zion is another. There's a few others that are very popular, but honestly, there's energy vortexes worldwide. They can they're, not every single one is publicized. But in reference to our mother's house, if you think of America, zoom in all the way California, Southern California, Los Angeles County, up in the mountains and in the high desert, there are so many fault lines, ley lines, so much energy, either trapped in like the valley basins or charged in those basins. Either way, our mother's home is close to a very highly energized active fault line. So I think, in my personal opinion, that kind of influences the energy. And it is said that, thousands of years, people have chosen to build ancient structures or ceremonial buildings on ley lines or vortexes for the strength and the energy, everything that you can feel of the earth at that particular spot. It's a worldwide common practice. So I think it's interesting, and I think it's
that is interesting.
worth noting with the amount of activity Mom's house has.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you guys think like that area of Southern California is more, from all those fault lines, is it more positively charged energy or negatively charged energy?
I don't know, because there's stuff like aliens a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
But like even just like the vibe of that place, like
I would say a little more negative.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What would
That's
be like a
wild.
high energy?
Like Sedona, like how we feel when we go to Sedona.
But that's a vortex.
Yeah, but
I've had negative experiences in Sedona too.
Yeah.
The first time I went, my first trip to Sedona was, I swore I was never going to go back. It was such a, so I don't necessarily think the energy that has been enhanced or released underground, the charge of it, I think it could come into play with the particular energies that are drawn to it. But I also think you have a positive fucking place. Sorry. You have a positive place, magnets, I don't think you can have one without the other.
Oh, gotcha,
yeah.
Gotcha.
And I was thinking, like it's kind of in the eye of the beholder. Like,
right,
it might be positive to one person, negative to another. Because, like, even though you've had negative experiences at Sedona, like I've had more positive experiences. So it just depends on how it affects that person.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know.
And it was, I wouldn't say it was,
I know?
Not much.
it wasn't like
Just kidding.
negative per se. It was extremely draining, overwhelming. It was a lot.
Mhm.
when
You
I
want to
first
talk about it?
went.
Not
different
the
episode
discussion.
topic.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm joking.
Back to mom's house. So yeah.
Okay, first of all, I just want to start off with Kayla she's a little bit like rude because mind you, we are friends and like we had been friends for like a little while and I had been going there consistently, like pretty consistent, and she didn't tell me lickety nothing until her son said something. So we'll get to that though.
Okay, but the thing
And
is,
she
it's
never
like
said anything.
when
She never
you
said
when
anything.
you bring like new people into your life, new friends, like new relationships, like, well, okay, sometimes it is like one of the first things I talk about with people.
Yeah.
But sometimes like you don't want to like scare the person off. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird though. Like, why didn't it get brought up sooner?
I don't know.
We're
That's
both
why,
like,
so like that's what I don't understand. Like she could be like, "Hey, my house is spooky." And I
Yes.
would have been like, "Oh, like cool, thanks for the heads up."
Everybody,
I did. I feel
everybody
like
in
I
my
did tell you
life
that.
knows
No, you
mom's house
didn't.
is spooky.
But yeah, no, and we had talked about ghosts, but not
What
one.
the hell?
We had.
No, you are so full of it. I don't know.
We were watching.
No, but that was
Was
the
that
day I
after?
told you.
No, it wasn't.
Or we had talked about it then.
Yeah, and I had been going there consistently.
Yeah, I don't know. When you live with it so much, it's just normal, you
So
know.
you are. Just kidding.
I don't know. So, I guess I'll start off with the experiences that we've had in this home. You said it really good the other day, Kayla, that it's hard to talk about. What were you saying? Because I thought that was like really good.
No, when we were like procrastinating so much or like pushing it off, I was like, yeah, let's find something else to like,
Discuss.
yeah, to like
Phil.
push that off. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, our parents have had this home for 7 years, and boom roasted the day that we moved in, there were experiences. But then the question is asked pretty early. Is it the home or is it the people and the energies that we give off? Anyway,
I would like to say no.
Guys.
I would like to say that we as a family have a inviting and healing kind of vibe to us and a helping kind of vibe. So energy and spirits are just attracted to us.
And
Not that we're haunted.
I mean,
I'd like to put a spin on it like that. Is it true? I don't know. But I'm gonna throw a spin on
I'm
that.
gonna say that was
Yeah.
a stretch.
right.
Well, you know.
So, just a quick like breakdown of the things that we've experienced over the years. Shadow figures, disembodied voices, disembodied laughing, doors opening and closing, doors unlocking, opening and closing, items being moved or missing completely. Jump in at any time if I forget anything.
Yeah, I mean, disembodied voices right in your ear.
Figures. Oh yeah.
Figures, sleep paralysis, nightmares.
Like that.
My gosh, the sprinklers and the stuff in the garage. The stuff is literally crashed in the garage. Just like stuff moving. Yeah, it's an intense energy, and it shows itself in very obviously.
Yeah.
Kind of constantly.
Right. And there's been instances over the years, like the garage stuff, I would almost and I'm sorry, my throat has a tickle. I would almost beg to say it's PK. But anyway, back to the experiences that we've had. Figures, whether it be, shadow figures or like a, what do they call them? Disembodied, no, like the spirit figure that you see.
Apparition.
Apparition, thank you.
Got it.
Yeah. Whether it be like a cloud of smoke or a light or an actual like clear person or download of like somebody is standing there. All sorts of things like that. There's several rooms that we will be talking about, but the main one we'll be calling them by color. The green room, that is the spookiest room of all. We have another friend who, anytime she would come and spend the
Just-
night.
Sorry, just
My feet are so
she
numb.
lost the bet. So
Oh,
God, so she was gonna sit on her like toes the whole, and I was like, no, you're not.
that
Mark it.
my feet are like I can't even.
I
move
told
them.
you not to.
Was I losing blood? Oh my god!
Losing blood.
like circulation.
Where's the tourniquet?
Oh, I'm
Oh my
sorry. Oh, I
gosh.
can't feel my feet.
The green room.
Sorry.
No, you're good. The green room is probably the most
Yeah.
creepy room. The most.
Before you even finish the sentence, it's like, yep, the most throw any verb,
Adjective.
noun, adjective, throw any.
Pause. So, we're going to be talking about specific hotspots in the house, which right off the bat for me personally is the green room. Now we're going to refer to the rooms as colors because we're 5. No, I'm just kidding. The green room is. I'm in it right now.
Oh my gosh! I don't even put 2 and 2 together right now.
But it was painted green.
It was green.
Mm-hmm.
It's been painted several colors, but green stuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would say the green room, and right across the doorway from the green room is the garage, and I would say the garage as well. The
stairs.
staircase.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, I hate that staircase.
The blue room.
The blue room.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to kind of give you guys like little tales of our personal hauntings from the house. We're also going to break down. We had a paranormal investigative crew come out to the house. We're going to talk about our experience with that and what to do if you're experiencing a haunting, and how to cleanse your space. We'll talk about that too. Anyway, okay, so if you guys remember our night hag episode, all of those experiences occurred in this house. Just to kind of give a little bit more girth to the stories, I guess.
Is that the word you want to go with?
What is with my adjectives?
Some substance.
Yeah.
No, you chose girth.
Yeah.
Ew.
I got pain on the brain. I'm just kidding.
Well, your husband's coming back soon.
Okay.
Checks out.
Only 2 weeks post-op, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, so I've got hundreds of stories. Throughout the last 7 years, my husband is active duty military, but when he was deployed, I would come home. The kids were really little. So we had a lot of energy in this house in general because we had, my mom, my dad, when he was, who has a mighty long commute from where he lives. When he's... So our dad lives in another, or works in another state, lives there, and comes home. So he's got a mighty long commute. It's so corny. So Kayla and her boys have lived here. Me and my 2 children, my husband, our oldest sister, on and off, there's just been a lot of energy in this house. But what I will say is probably it's a tale I have not shared on here yet. And let me set up the scene. So Kayla and I are in our mother's garage, and we've converted half of it into like a little workout area at this time. And it was full pandemic, and we are working out, releasing all that panini stress. And
Why did you say panini?
Panini?
Were you like making paninis and stressed about it?
Like, because like that was one of the things to do in the pandemic. What?
I'm overthinking my and during workouts, I have a workout playlist, but I'll like pick specific songs for sets because I'm annoying. And so I have I have a song playing on my phone, totally chill, in the middle of a set, and all of a sudden my phone volume goes all the way down. The song completely changes. I like instantly look at my phone and I'm like, what the heck? And then I hear this music and I'm like, what song is this? And I grab my phone and I look at it, and it's a song I don't even have in my personal iTunes library. And I've never heard this song before. I was like, what in the world? Let me just read a couple lines from this song real quick. So the song starts with, embrace me, my sweet, embraceable you. Embrace me, you irreplaceable you. Just one look at you, my heart grew tipsy in me. You and you alone bring out the gypsy in me. I love all the many charms about you. Above all, I want my arms about you. Don't be a naughty baby. Come to mama do. My sweet, embraceable you. And yada, yada, yada. Creepy song.
Yeah.
In all reality, it is, it's called Embraceable You. And the version that played on my phone was Ella Fitzgerald. And I have some Ella on my iTunes. I do not have that album. I do not have that song. I'd never heard it before. So it just starts playing as Kayla and I are working out. And I was literally like, what the fuck is going on right now? This is
not
creepy.
Just you. We were literally like mid like
super set.
And it changes. And I was just like, okay, like this is an interesting song choice, Brittany. And then she started freaking out and was like, I didn't pick this song. And it's like, whoa, just take it easy, man. But it was like, I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, no, like it's not even in my library. Like I don't know this song.
That's so creepy.
And we freaked out.
That's like a creepy song.
Yeah,
it was. Y'all have got to go over to, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, blow this song up. It's a banger. No, I'm just kidding. Go listen to it and imagine, just like put yourself in a place of that song randomly coming on and you being like, what the fuck? It gave me
midst of like it like the house was like incredibly active at this specific time too. So there was a lot of different things that we were all experiencing. And so for that to happen at that time when we're like already on edge with all of the stuff, it was just like, this is
a lot. Yeah. And I remember running to mom and dad, and I was, because I'm 5 again. Mom, dad. And I was like, guess what happened, blah, blah. And dad's like, I bet your phone got hacked. And so Kayla and I, right? And Kayla and I look it up, and, we didn't really find anything that fit that criteria. So I just kind of chalked it up to a spiritual message, because that isn't the first time we've had communication through song or any devices that play audio. Yeah. So that's my haunted house story. probably the most prevalent. The dude I see in the kitchen nightly, he likes to stand in the corner, make himself look really big. Like, I'm not kidding, like super tall and big like that.
He's like 2 feet tall.
He probably is. He probably is, because he makes himself look so big, and it just he's kind of like my version with him is kind of like when Kevin is tired of like getting scared of the furnace in the basement in Home Alone.
Yeah.
When he's like, shut up. That's kind of how I feel, like, shut up. Walking up the stairs, shut up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are my kind of little breakdown, I guess, of experiences.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you bring up the thing in the garage. So at this time I worked graveyard shift. So I would get off work at like, I'd get home at like 6 or 7 in the morning, and I would go, like, the kids went to school nearby, so we would go.
we will.
So
alrighty, so this first tale is taking you way back to when our parents first bought this house, and it's about probably like 2 months after it was purchased, and my son had just been born. I was back in California, health problems, whatever. Husband was in Virginia, where he was stationed. So I'm awaiting his arrival so we can head back to Virginia together. And going through the kids' laundry, folding. I'm upstairs by myself in my room. I remember the daylight, the sun pouring in. It was just so warm, and it's like September in California, just like beautiful weather. And I heard laughing. Now, everybody was in the house, or at home, I should say. But our children, Kayla and I's children at the time, were all under like 2 years old. And this laugh was like, I don't want to be, it's a hearty little girl's laugh, but it's like elementary-esque level girls laughing. And I just remember like turning around and being so sure somebody was upstairs. And I like checked everywhere where nobody was upstairs. Everybody was outside. And I was like, okay. Same kind of thing, like running past the door frame.
Oh no, that is so creepy.
At the time, like, I think of it, I'm almost like, this was like a fond memory. How fucked up am I? What? Like, oh.
that is creepy. When you initially hearing it, I was like, oh yeah, but then when you said that, it's like it hit me like
every like scary movie like that's like
oh yeah, for sure. And I remember running downstairs and going to find you, Kay, because I was like, I need to tell Kay, because we're always on some spooky shit. So I was like, I need to tell her immediately. And I get to the bottom of the stairs. I look at the top, and we both see something fly past the top of the stairs. And I was like, okay, did you see that? I'm not just crazy, right? But that was like very early. I'm sorry. I
gave yourself chills.
Yeah. You guys brought me down from being like,
oh, it was like a sweet
an episode of Ghosts where
I'm sorry,
but I do still think that it is kind of like an episode of Ghosts. I would much rather think that it's like that, where it's like funny and they're just like, oh, like we're recording right now and like you keep getting fuzzy because they're coming in like to the camera like, do I look okay? Like, you guys are talking about me, So I would rather think of it that way than
the stereotypical.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of scary.
Well, it's scary because it's like we can't see it and it's unknown and you don't really know what it is.
But like the energy could be like, you could feel good energy, but it could still be like scary.
Yeah.
Like,
and the craziest thing is that this was all happening. This is such a goofy thing, but I always accredited spooky times to being at night. And it was
Yeah.
a sunny day, and it was like mid-afternoon, like 2, 3. So the sun was
You're
coming
like,
through.
yeah, this house, it's anytime of
Yeah, no, fucking chill.
yeah.
Literally. And I was so, and in the moment I was very creeped out, and I was like, okay, but now I'm like, it was a fond memory. But no, it was pretty spooky. So this next one occurred about like a year and a half later. My husband was deployed overseas, so the kids and I left Virginia, came back to California, and at this time, Kayla and her boys are there. So there's all that, and they're all little. They're like under 3 and 4 years old. Like, I think they were 3. Yeah, they were turning 4 that year. So they were like under 3 years old. So lots of like fresh energy, that youthful, pure energy in this house. And there were like a lot of spooky instances where doors would fly open. The back door flew open. We caught it on camera. And back then it was like post Vine, but those were still like the thing to do on your Instagram story. And Kayla and I had done that. Or no, it was on Snapchat. Anyway, we filmed it because the door unlocked itself and flew open, and we were like gagging over it. And there was a couple other times I've seen like the way that I would describe it is like an energy ball. It looked kind of like a gigantic fuzzy cotton ball thingy that you like make kids crafts with, that has like all the spikes on it. You pick it up when I'm throwing down.
Like a little puff ball.
Yes, thank you.
Like some of them are glittery.
Yes, so think of a glitter puff ball, okay?
Can you tell we were Girl Scouts?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But imagine it being like basketball size, I mean, and seeing that for a couple of seconds, seeing a tracing movement, like just like seeing it move with your own eyes, I guess. This ball of energy, I've seen like the polar opposite, much smaller softball sized ball of energy, electric, white, pure, like looking, I've seen in this house. Next story. Bypass all those spooky times. Things fell in the garage when we were during that year.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say things fell in the garage, I mean
all of the shelves crashed down.
We had like 4 rows of shelving on one side of the garage, and the shelves and everything on them flew down midday. Same thing, not at night. So this next one was with one of my really good friends. My daughter's birthday was coming up, and we love to bake together. She is definitely like the better baker, but it's fun to do together. So we were making her cake, and it was the type that you stick the doll in the top and the cake is her actual skirt.
That's cool.
So we had the cakes baking, and at this point they're cooling. So we're like running to the garage and putting the cakes in the freezer in the blast chiller so they could cool off and we could get decorating. And my friend is like, where's the doll? Like, let's see how tall the cake where's the doll? And I was like, oh, it's in the kitchen. Like, I brought it in the kitchen. It's by the sink. And she goes in there, and we're like, it's not fucking in here. Like, where is it? And I was like, well, let me check my room. So I go and I like check the room. No, it's not in there. Anyway, we search high and low for this doll. And at one point, going from the kitchen down the short hallway to the green room is on the right side. The garage is on the left. We go into the garage, check in there. Like, maybe at one point we just dropped it in the garage for some reason. Not in there. We hear what sounds like the back door opening. Run back down that little hallway into the kitchen, see the back door has completely opened itself. So I immediately pull up our security camera app to be like, something is fucking with us right now, because I brought this doll, put it on this goddamn counter. We cooked and cleaned the kitchen at this point. That thing was sitting there in a Target bag. Like, what the fuck? So I'm thinking either somebody's in the backyard, something malicious is going through my mind. Pull up the app, you see the door open, you don't see anybody there. The shot of the kitchen is completely empty because my friend and I were back at the garage at this point. So, at some, I think we had, honestly, what I think happened was the garage door had caught itself. And so we heard it close and we were both like, ah! What was that? So we go down to the garage and we're like, okay, we're just being goofy. Come back in the kitchen. The doll is fucking on the counter.
The doll's doing what on the counter?
What is she doing?
The
Well, that
doll
explains why she went missing for a while.
Her hair's a mess.
She's like the walk of shame. Mascara. But yeah, it was just chilling on the counter. And that was the first time something so large in size had
That's
been moved.
so crazy. What if, like,
And
every time you went to a room, they're just like, oh. Like,
Well, that's not the only time that stuff is moved because it actually happens a lot. And one of the crazier times was your purse when she came to visit, right?
I completely
So
forgot about that.
the kids were babies and my kids were asleep and Brittany's kids, like one of them was a baby and the other one was like sitting with us, right? And so Brittany had visited and it was time for her to like leave. And we were all heartbroken and like crying and like super emotional and like saying goodbye. And we're all sitting in the living room, just kind of like last minute talking before she literally had to leave. And she could not find her purse. And we were like, what the heck?
It was the weirdest fucking thing too, because we're sitting on the sofa and I'm like going into my purse, like I still have this purse, sliding the top, pulling my phone out, texting like this whole number. And over the course of like 15 minutes of us sitting on that sofa, and I'm like, what the hell? I just had my purse here. We were sitting here, we didn't get up. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, and we like searched everywhere. We searched every part of the house and we were freaking out. And she's like, guys, like I have to go. Like I can't find my phone. I can't do anything. And this was like a while ago. I'm sure that there was still like a Find Your iPhone app, but
yeah, I'm sure.
But we were like
it can't be far.
Yeah, and we're like, where the heck is it? What's going on? And so at one point we end up like we looked in the garage, like it wasn't there. Let's just check the backyard. Maybe you had it out there. And she's like, no, I didn't. Like it was on the couch. And we were like, oh, yeah, it was on the couch. But we go outside anyways. And we go on the side of the house because there's like some toys over there and stuff. And so we're checking on the side of the house and we find the purse in like a little Tyke's car. And it's pushed up against the wall. And on the other side of the wall is the couch where she was sitting. So it was literally
it's like
right
it literally went through the wall into this little Tyke. I promise.
Yeah. And
that's
like the kids were asleep. Like her kids were with us. Like no one moved it out there.
That's so
and nuts. It was literally like dire. Like you should just stay for a few. And then I was saying, no, I need to go. And so it was like
trying to get her to stay, like making it like almost like a child, like you can't leave. I'm wrapped around your leg. But this one was like, you can't leave. I just stole your purse.
Yes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that one was crazy. No, she had to leave. Yeah. And it's like little things like that. I mean, that wasn't little, but like small instances like that, experiences and stuff. That's like a very constant thing that happens. And one time I went to my mom's house after work and to take a shower because her hair product is way better than mine, or it was at the time. It probably still is. So I go over and I'm like, I'm going to take a shower. And I put my phone and my stuff like on the counter and I'm in the shower and I'm like washing my hair and I'm hearing something and I'm like, what the heck is that? And I'm like, is that music? Like at this point, like I'm home alone. Like I'm the only person here. And I'm like terrified. Like what the heck is going on? So I kind of like go out of the shower and I hear music. And I'm like, "What?" And I look and my phone is playing a song from Foreigner and it's Waiting for a Girl Like You. And I was like, "What is happening?" And I pick it up to me and at the part I picked it up, it was like, I'm waiting for a girl like you to make me feel alive. And I literally was like, oh, what the heck? And then it goes like, and I just
That
like,
reminds me of the garage.
yeah. And I was like, I had like a full blown, like, what the heck? Yeah, it was crazy. And then, and obviously I still had stuff in my hair, so I get back in the shower, I like rinse off, and I'm like, what the heck? How could that have happened? Like, I don't know, because when I had brought God up there, like it's not like I had my music app open or anything, like there was just there was no way. And I'm not the type of person that like plays music while I'm like walking around, like unless I'm cleaning. But at that moment, like there was no way. And I was like, how trying to figure out how the heck could it have played? And especially at that part in the song, like any other part of the song, but
At your
waiting
most
for a girl to feel
vulnerable.
alive. Yeah, exactly. And that's what's creepy is like I like that's like the worst thing, like Zombieland. They know when you're at your most vulnerable, like when the guy's like sitting on the toilet, and it's like literally like, please let me finish showering, you freaking weirdo.
He liked
For
what he saw.
reals.
Yeah, it was super creepy. But there was an even creepier time was when my kids were like very, very little, like just started talking. Okay. And we moved in with my mom, and our rooms are right next to each other. So I'm like, I always like read to them and it's time for bed and then they go to sleep. And they had started randomly talking about they were scared from the monkey in their closet. And of course at the time I'm thinking of like the monkey from Family Guy, like
That's what
you
I
know,
picture in my head
yeah.
every single time.
And I'm like, what are you like? What monkey? Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, the monkey in the closet. He scares us. It scares us. And I'm like, oh, that is so weird. Like, so creepy, but okay.
That is creepy.
And so they would sleep in my room all the time because they didn't want to be in there.
But hearing my little nephew go, monkey,
Yeah.
and looking down a dark ass hallway and being like, there's nothing there, bud.
Yeah. Because it would happen in their room at night, and then during the day we would be downstairs in the kitchen and he would look down the hallway and be like, it's the monkey. And there's
Right
nothing
near
there.
the green room.
Right near the green room. And it was so
my
creepy.
heart.
Yeah. But the weirdest thing, so this is like they are
Whoa.
toddlers at this time. And then right before we moved here, not right before, but a few months before we moved here, we're in the kitchen and like we're goofing off or whatever, just visiting my mom. And he looks down the hall and he was like, oh, the monkey. And I was like, what did you just say? And he was like, remember that when the monkey would like be in my closet at night and I would see it? And I was like, yeah, like how do you remember that? And he was like, oh yeah, that was weird. And like looked down the hallway and then like kept playing. And I was like, that's the creepiest thing. But not only that about the monkey, but they would also say that a witch would come up from the garage through their closet and scare them at night.
That's creepy.
And again, they're like toddlers, so they're barely even talking.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then so I go to a psychic fair around the same time, honestly. Like the kids are about the same age. And again, just really learning how to talk and stuff. And I go to the psychic fair and she's like, I'm talking to a psychic and she's like, oh my gosh, is one of your kids speaking another language, like randomly? And funny enough, my oldest at the time, again, was just learning how to talk, but he would randomly start saying full sentences in Spanish. And I was like, so I'm like looking at the psychic, like, actually, yeah, he has. And at the time, like his show to watch was The Lion Guard. And so we would watch it, like we had bought the whole little season or whatever on Amazon. So we would watch it on Amazon. So there was no like there was
Commercials.
no commercials, like he was not into Dora the Explorer or anything like that. Those are like the only things that I could think of him getting this fluent in Spanish because no one in his life spoke Spanish. And not to him, you know. And I was like, this is weird. Like he would just randomly start speaking Spanish. And I was like, okay, like that's interesting. So when the psychic told me that, I was like, yeah, actually he has. And she was like, my son, when he was like about your son's age, started speaking German. And I was like, what the heck is this kid saying? Like, what is going on? And she realized that like a passer through spirit, like she was blocking herself off because she was a new mom and didn't want like these energies like coming into her home, right? But because she blocked herself off, the passer throughs went to her children because
Huh.
spirits will flock to like the most open, and children are always known for being more open
Yeah.
and like susceptible to paranormal stuff happening. And she was like, but this passer through spoke German and so was like talking to him in German, and then he started speaking it.
That's so
And
cool, though.
it is cool. And she was like, so I
Alex is
think
like,
I was like, what the hell? And so I think that that's, I mean, both of us came to that conclusion, like, oh, there must be pastor throughs that are speaking Spanish to him. And he's like saying it, which on one hand, it's like super complete, like, teach me Spanish. Like, what? My Spanish is horrible. But it was just insane, like, watching my 1.5-year-old, like, barely speaking English, speaking full things in Spanish. It was insane. So yeah, those are just some of the scarier things or more like in your face things that have happened to me in that house. But there's literally so many experiences I can't even. Oh my gosh. So
ew, that creeped
we
me
were.
out.
I know, right? Sorry, jump
That was like
scare.
that's so Raven or something. When she's like, the vision is coming up. That
So
scared me.
no, there was this time. So me and Brittany's friend, the one that she made the cake with,
Oh
we
yeah.
for whatever reason decided
Her
that
and I breakdown. Her and I have been friends for like 4 or 5 years now. We're 6 years apart, born on the same day. We always have weird instances together as far as like spooky.
mhm.
So one day she spent the night, and I don't even know where it came from. We were like, let's just do some EVPs.
No, I'm going to tell you where it came from. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now where it came from. So, we were having a lot of experiences and we wanted to have a paranormal team come to the house. So, the first thing they said was like, "Okay, like we don't know what's causing it right now, so like just like stay chill, like don't like try to talk to them, like don't try to like do any kind of like a seance or like EVP sessions to because that can like up the activity. And so until we get there, like don't make your lives harder, you know, with all this energy and this activity." And so we're like, okay, like good plan. And then like 2 seconds later, Brittany and her friend are like, um, let's just like do an EVP session. And I was like, no, you're not doing an EVP session. That is so what freaking happened. So they grab the stuff and they're going to the green room. And I literally feel like that stereotypical kid in like an adventure movie where they're like, I'm not going, no. And then their friends walk away and they're like, I'm not going. I'm fine here. I'm fine here. And then it's like, like okay. And then like I go in there after and I'm like, okay, like let's do it. Like let's find out what happens. And we set the recorder down on like a solid table in the green room, completely like away from all of us. And we're just like asking questions and using the dowsing rods and stuff and trying to like communicate with whatever was there. And we caught such a so at one point, I think I asked, did we know you in life? And then it goes, yeah. Just like that. Like it chuckles and it says, yeah. I'll
Male
try
voice.
Yeah, it's a male voice that said that. And I'll charge the it's like right over there. I'll charge the recorder and see if I can get it on Instagram because it's just like creepy. And of course, we're sitting there asking, we're not catching it in real time.
Yeah.
And it was just like so afterwards when we grabbed the recorder and we're like, "Oh, let's just play it back." And it's so loud that we were like, "Oh my gosh." And yeah,
Same
that
thing.
was
It was in the morning. The
yeah,
sun was out.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So everything that's really happened usually is it's not like more in the night or more in the morning, but it's
It's
pretty
like a consistent.
regular. Yeah. Yeah. But that one was cool though, not gonna lie.
Yeah, having that response was neat.
Mm-hmm.
Lexi, how about you?
So, little like a little backstory. When I first witnessed something, again, Kayla and I hadn't spoken about it, so that's how I found out the house was haunted.
When you saw something?
Yeah, and then we just didn't talk about it for a cool minute. But it was her, myself, and the boys, and it was like in the winter time, so the sun was down, but it was still like daytime. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
Like
it was dark
evening?
out. It was dark out. You know how it gets dark at like 4 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we were about to watch a movie, so we were like all going to the couch, and her oldest is like walking across the couch, and then he goes, "Look, Mama, look at the man in the window." And I turned, looked at the window, and I was like, there's no one there. He's like, no, right there, Mama, like it's right there. And I was like, oh my God, there's nobody there. And then Kayla just like brushed it, like kind of ignored him. But she looked, and I looked at her, and she was like, I was like,
That's the first introduction.
yeah.
Haunted.
And then the boys went to bed, and we like talked about it, and it's like, oh yeah, this place is haunted. Thanks.
Oh yeah, I didn't
No
mention
warning.
Yeah, but it was
Sorry.
like so creepy because he was like, it's right there, like there's the man. And I was like, oh.
Did you
That-
see it?
No.
No. But the thing is like
And it was so dark where in the spot that it was like where he was pointing to.
yeah.
Like darker than it should be.
Yeah. And the boys have said that about like the window in the blue room too, where they're
Yes.
like they there was a time where they thought that there was a man in their room and they came running in screaming bloody murder. But I don't know if it was a nightmare or if it was
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
that
know.
guy. Scary. But we also had have like a motion light and a camera in the backyard. So if it was like a human man, that would have triggered it.
That's true.
Right.
So that's also something to think about. Ooh.
Mhm.
That's a good intro into
Yeah, it was great.
into the family.
It was so
Yeah.
fun. I was like, oh, cool.
You want a welcome basket?
But then there was another one where it was Thanksgiving, okay? This last Thanksgiving, if you want to be technical. And like all the adults are in the kitchen, like around the island, and the kids, like the 4 kids, were in the room. And again, Kayla's oldest comes down and he's like, Mama, like, were you guys like trying to open the door a second ago? Like the doorknob was moving.
Yeah, and they're like, what did you guys need?
Yeah, yes.
And we're
And
like,
then like you're like nothing. And I was like, and then he's like, oh, okay, they run upstairs, and then like you guys just like were like, hmm. And I was like standing there like, what? Like, we're not gonna check it out, like.
yeah. No, just your average. But the thing is we don't like hearing stories like this and in our podcast, for instance, in our subject matter, we don't talk about this stuff with the kids. We don't talk about this stuff around the kids, especially when they were so little. And for them to all 4 have like consecutive experiences similar to what we have experienced. It just, it's more credit, I guess, to the point where it's like, okay, this is all of us. Like we evolved, and it's not just familial. It's our family that, you know, sister from another mister. It's our friends that come over. It's our, you know, it's anybody who comes into the house has experiences. So it's just
It's pretty scary.
Yeah. It really is, honestly. There's actually a time that I'm surprised you didn't say where we were like, it was like one of our like cake and wine movie nights.
Oh,
We were like crazy.
Friday
we're gonna
nights,
have like
Albertsons.
yeah,
Yeah.
running to Albertsons, grabbing like sample cake and a bottle of like super expensive red wine, Stella Rosa, and watching like Sex in the City, the movie, or something like that. So we're like sitting there and we keep hearing a couple things like weird stuff. And at this point, she's like well versed, like she knows that the house is haunted. Okay.
Yeah.
And we keep thinking that we're seeing stuff out of the same window that my oldest did. And we're like talking about it. We're like, ew, like what the heck? And then we're like walking towards the kitchen and there's a wall right here. And we just hear like knock, 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 knock.
Oh my god!
All down the wall. And on the other
Yuck.
side of it,
I remember.
on the other side of it is like more like a stud, like a stud, and like more like drywall into the garage. So, and we were the only ones awake. But it literally was like knocking all the way down the wall. And then it just
That
stopped.
I forgot all about that too. Yucko.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're
No.
like such a drama queen too. You're like, I'm like, I can't sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good night.
I'm not
Well,
a drama queen.
You're
that
right.
place
I'm
was
sorry.
scary.
Our
it's
brother-in-law
It's-
doesn't like sleeping here. Like we have a handful of friends who refuse to sleep here alone, like in a room by themselves.
Yeah. It's creepy, but it's very interesting. And we have had a paranormal team out there. So
We have. They
yeah.
have. Yeah. Let's segue into that.
So the paranormal team, so one of them is a medium, so Sean is a medium, and then Cody is an empath, but I also think that he's a medium as well because he's very like sensitive, just like Sean is. Sensitive, but like sensitive to like intuitive to like the stuff that's around them. So together they make a very good investigative team. Like they pick up on different things and it's pretty interesting. But they have tons of equipment, and so it was really cool being able to see like certain areas of the house that we knew to be more active, kind of getting that validation from their equipment as well.
Yeah.
Like the stairs, for instance, where all and it doesn't have to be at night, but at least every single night, if you're like sitting on the couch, you're gonna see like someone peeking over the stairs and just looking at you.
You know what's
And
even
then,
like more creepier about your stairs is that mirror.
Yeah.
At the bottom.
The mirror at the
Yeah.
bottom of the stairs.
Gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, it's
But I've taken a selfie on it, so
yeah. We've all taken a selfie in that mirror, but it's still a creepy mirror, and like you'll hear footsteps up and down the stairs. It's interesting. So a lot of the
Like
stuff
the
from
rail,
the video,
the railing twisting. I just thought of that. Like, you know, when you
Ew.
go down the stairs and you hold the rail and it's like, you know, between like that sound too.
Yeah. So it was cool because the first time they came over, there was a lot of activity on the stairs. And it was almost like their little
They had set
beeping
up
devices were
ramp
like,
pods up
yeah.
the stairs.
And it was like they were beeping, like telling us to like walk up the stairs, like come here. And it was just really cool.
The cool
Now
thing,
the
the crazy thing for the first, they had come out the first time and they were going to do like a full investigation and a cleansing, clear out all that. It was going to be cool. The first time they came out, Kayla and I, we did like our intro with them, whatever. We left while they did their investigation. So we take my car and we go. It's like midnight, and I'm like, I'm starving. I'm a freaking like guilty pleasure Jack in the Box tacos, fucking tried and true.
Every
Um,
time. Midnight,
yeah,
Jack in the Box.
yes. And so the one that we were at just so happened to have a 1.5 mile long line, but we were like, you know what, this is the only thing that's open. Let's just wait in this line and get the food. So we're um, in this long ass line. The light in my trunk, not because I had 3 rows, the light in the trunk was on. And I'm sitting there going, Kayla, did you turn that light on or something? Like, what? Why did that light come on? And Kayla's like, open up here. And I'm like, well, none of us even went to the trunk. Like, what is going on? And I was like, what is happening? But we felt, both of us were like making note, like, I don't think that they're at the house anymore. I think they're in the car with us. And
Yeah.
the
It
light,
felt very heavy.
and it was like, the light's like, ding, ding, bitch, we're here. Like, we're chilling.
Yeah.
Not in necessarily like a menacing way, but in almost like we don't know who these people are. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, you getting Jack in the Box? We want some too.
Yeah, they're like, we're leaving with you guys.
We're
Like,
going with
leave
you
these
guys.
guys here. Like, screw that. We're going with you guys.
Yes.
But it was just like, it felt like the car was full of people.
Yeah.
And it was freaky. But at one point, they were at the house while we were, at the Jack in the Box drive-through, going like, oh my gosh, like, are they in the car with us right now? And then we get a text from them, and they're like, what's happening with you guys right now? And we were like, oh well, we feel like something's in the car with us. And they were like, if you guys can, like, come back right now. And we're like, okay. So we get the food and we head back, and they're like, we were doing like the spirit box.
We just imagine
like,
as we're driving back, I'm like,
literally one track mind right now. Like, yeah, we got a car full of spirits and Jack in the Box tacos. But we get back and they're like, dude, like, we caught on the spirit box. We were like, what are you doing or whatever? And it was like, the girls,
we're
Brittany,
with the girls.
Kayla, we're with the girls. And then they were like, we're with the girls. Bye.
In the house, they said the house was silent. Like, the REM pods had gone off like a couple of times. And when they would ask, like, when they got the through the spirit box or whatever, Britt, Kayla were with the girls. And what's crazy is that our entire life, because Kayla and I are only 18 months apart, we've always been called the girls. Tasha too, like our eldest sister, the girls, as like a term of endearment to describe us or something. So hearing those words,
a term to group us together instead of saying us all individually. Oh yeah, go feed the girls, maybe.
No, I like when somebody says like the girls, like that's like, oh, cute. But yeah.
But it's interesting that was the phrase that was used also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So that
and we went
that was
back.
a really cool time.
Mm-hmm. We were able to investigate a little bit with them.
Mm-hmm. But the first time they came, they weren't able to cleanse the house because they still needed to, like, they wanted to investigate even more because there was a lot of activity and they wanted to catch whatever else.
I remember you guys telling me that what you guys heard through one time about how it said that it like watched you.
Oh my God, that's the second time. That's my message.
Yeah. So the second time, honestly, the second time they came, we were like, bring it. Like, we're ready for this. Like, we were just,
we're not fucking scared.
We were having like a good time. And really, because they film their investigations for their YouTube channel, right? And so, but me and Brittany are like, we want to talk to these fuckers. And the way that they were coming at us through the spirit box was like, we were like, we're gonna throw down right now. This is ridiculous. To the point where I'm sure like trying to edit that episode was like such a headache for them because I'm sure they had to cut out a bunch of stuff because we were like
Cursing.
laughing or like, fuck that, like you
Yes.
suck, talk to us like that, like who do you think you are, you know? And but it was funny, there was one part where we went to the garage and they got the spirit box and it literally was like, stupid fucking fat bitch.
It was like, bam, 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 super fucking fat bitch.
And we were freaking crying. We were laughing so hard.
Did
like,
they keep that
Like
in?
taking my earrings
no,
out.
we didn't keep it in. And it was so, that was like the one thing that we were looking forward to because that was so funny. And, but I mean, at the time, like, if you're thinking like these crazy bitches, like, their house is literally haunted. They're being told that they're being followed by these ghosts, and they're laughing when they call them like a stupid fucking fat bitch because we have no idea who they were talking to. First of all, who do you think you're talking to?
I mean, I'll take the credit.
but it was just so funny. Like, damn, like relax.
Yes. And it was like, cause like how we mess around with each other, we go like cutthroat. So I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers are on our level. Like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
I wasn't scared.
No, and
It's like, okay.
like when we go to places and we investigate ourselves, like we are so respectful, we are so careful with it, which I'm sure like Cody and Sean were being the same way to us versus us in our own home. We were like, we're comfortable with these spirits already. Like we didn't want them there. We wanted to know who they were and why they were there and what the deal was going on. But we were comfortable with the energy that when they were starting to throw stuff out like that, we were like, bring it on. Like that was a good burn, but it's not good enough. But there was a part too, because a lot of times, there was a couple other times that music was involved where my phone would trip out and then just start playing weird songs. And one of them that you and I both had was Bruce Springsteen, I'm on Fire. And I love that song. I know you love that song. But it would play at weird times and we were like, oh, that's weird.
Like you needed to hear it. Like a time that you needed some sort of validation. But for me, it was I'm on Fire, Gold Dust Woman. And there was another song I'm drawing a blank of. We're all upstairs in the hallway. And Sean is doing sensory deprivation with the spirit box, which basically, if you're not familiar, is when you're literally canceling out your senses. So you cover your eyes and you have like headphones connected to a device that spirits talk through. And basically they're like repeating the message. So they can't hear like the questions we're asking. They don't know where the heck we're moving or anything like that. Sorry, squeak, squeak. So we're all in the hallway upstairs and Sean is just like rattling off this stuff. Well,
like it doesn't make any sense to anyone else there, but it makes perfect sense to me and Brittany and Brittany's husband.
I'm on fire. Like this was not the song, but Don't Stop Believing. Like something.
Why was
I
thinking the exact same thing? The exact same song, literally. And that's not one of the songs.
No.
And I love Journey, but I don't like that song. So it's weird that we both thought of that one. But they were saying it was like what kept coming to the spirit box was that they were quoting songs that we would recognize as songs that they were connecting with us with prior to the investigation team coming. And so we were like, oh my gosh. And there's different parts. If you guys watch the episode, there's different parts where something will happen and me and Brittany will just look at each other and then nothing. We don't explain anything. We don't jump in like, actually, that resonates with me because this. We're just silent, because we don't want to miss anything. But then anyone watching it is like, oh, I'm on fire. Oh, they must have died in a fire. And we're like, no.
No,
they were being sassy, like being like, oh, remember this one? I'm on fire.
No, I don't think it was like that because of what followed it. So all of these songs are being listed. Sean's like spouting all these songs out and he's like, does this even make sense? And I'm like, yeah, keep going. Keep going.
You're like, yeah.
So then as it's going, he starts with this message that's like, I hear you when you're crying, Brittany. And
Yeah.
at first I was like, dun dun dun, like it creeped me out. I was terrified. I was like, that's so threatening or like stalkerish. And with the embraceable me thing, not long before this, I instantly like put my walls up and I was like, this is terrifying. But now, like when we were watching it back once it aired, when we were watching it with our family, both my mom and her best friend turn and look at each other and they're like, why are you freaking out about that? And I'm like, because it's so spooky, going like on about it. And they're like, that's like a positive message. Like they literally said they hear you when you're crying, Brittany. Like they're there for you and they're saying these songs that are comfort songs. And I'm like, holy shit. It's all about the perspective and it's all about the
moment, literally, because at the time we were already on like defense mode because I will be fair, when we started downstairs, they were coming at us. Like they were not holding back. And then when we went
that
upstairs,
was Mom's room.
I know. And then when we went upstairs, then it continued where we were defensive because of some of the stuff they were saying was like some of the stuff that was coming through. Some of the stuff that was coming through the spirit box was stuff that we have said to each other during like vulnerable times where we were like really struggling with something or like hurting or confused or down on ourselves. Like, when you just have days where you're like really mean to yourself for no reason, but like we're family, so we're all talking about it. And then they use those exact phrases through the spirit box. So we immediately got defensive, like, okay, you guys are like trying to upset us.
Yes.
So then when we go into the hallway, I mean, even at that point, now that I'm saying it, it could be like, we were there for you when you were going through this. or like, you know what? Screw you. That was a hard time. But then we go down to the garage.
Well, they said
like,
no.
Fat bitch, and we were like laughing at it.
Said that.
Yeah, we heard you say that.
Like at the very beginning of it, it's like, you are not a super fucking fat bitch.
They like have like weekly meetings in the garage. It's like, how can we get them?
We've got to get them to realize they cannot say that they are
super
fucking fat bitches. Yeah, so like,
well,
and just let me just say real quick, we never call ourselves stupid fucking fat bitches. So
no, and I'm like, damn, like that's harsh. But in Mom's room, and it's on the episode, they say something. They have some noive to bring up me and my schooling. And I remember instantly be like, fuck off. And I was like, oh, because I didn't even realize.
You said it at the same time that Sean like took his headphone off and he was like, is this making any sense? But it was perfectly timed at the same time that Brittany was going, fuck you. And he was like, oh, I guess it is. Okay. But I don't think they put that part up. So there's like certain parts that like we experienced because we were there too that didn't air, unfortunately. Right. Where is the footage? Because that stuff is funny. It's like a home video.
Right, it is.
For us, because it's our house.
All up to interpretation too.
Yeah.
I think that's
huge. Because some people would watch it and again not understand the context of some of the things that they were trying to tell us, and so it makes complete sense to us and we're like, we got it, we really enjoyed it, whereas someone else might watch it and be like, these chicks are like annoying, like why are they doing this or whatever. And so yeah, it's in the eye of the beholder for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like we got some answers. The house cleansing was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably my favorite part. Oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about the sprinkler blowing up the second time.
Oh yeah. So a couple times, just really quick, just throw this in there. Like we had said, very weird things happen at the house. But there's been a few times that the sprinkler has blown for no reason. Like we said that the stuff in the shelving in the garage has fallen down for no reason. Well, this one sprinkler in the backyard has burst for no reason. So when Cody and Sean got there to do the investigation the second time, we were all at my apartment on the other side of town,
Mhm.
because Lexi was going to watch the kids for us if we went back over to investigate, or we were waiting for that call, like, oh, they're with you guys, can you bring them back,
Yeah.
so we were like, oh, let's wait. So we're all sitting there talking, and then we get a call from them, and they're like, is something wrong with your guys' sprinklers? And immediately we like look at each other and we're like, did it blow? And they were like, yes, we were literally arguing with something upstairs, and then we hear like a and then it's like that's not what water sounds like, but you get the
It was
message.
yeah.
And they look out the window, and it's like the sprinkler blew up right at the moment they were being like rude.
There is one thing, because at that moment they caught a growl,
Oh, that's
and
what it was. Yeah.
I think we came back, and then when we were up there, there was another growl, and on the SLS that actually like maps out apparitions and things like that. So if we can't see with our naked eye, the SLS camera can catch it. Well, there's one part where there's like a growl, and they're like, there was a growl, and then the thing blew. Once we get there and we're in the room, I think we were in there. I can't remember now. Anyway, they're panning over our parents' bed, and you see this figure on the bed. And at the time, I didn't even think about it until we were watching it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's our dog. That's our dog that
Yeah.
died." That like the movement and the growl, I was like, "That's fucking Betty."
Yeah.
I was like,
So
I
at the
didn't even
time
think
we're
about
like,
it.
it's this terrifying, scary thing. But then like the growl and the way where she was on the bed and the movement, yeah, we were like, oh my gosh,
That's so cute.
I bet that was Betty. And
She's like, "Who the fuck are you guys? Get out
yeah,
of
which she
this room!"
absolutely would be too. She was like, she don't
Feisty.
take no shit. So she's like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do whatever I can to scare you out of my mom's room right now. And so that's another thing, like, we're understanding it as our family dog that passed away, whereas all the viewers and even Cody and Sean, unknowingly are like, we caught a demonic growl and this creature crawling across the bed. No, I don't know if that's what they said, but like it's definitely
It's
up for interpretation. Everything is.
yes, perspective, interpretation, all of that good
Yeah.
stuff.
But that's just a little snippet of good old mom's house.
Yes. Now, does mom believe that the spirits in the house are bad?
No.
Does
No.
mom have
No.
any concern over any of the hauntings we have
Nope.
experienced?
Did mom care if we brought an investigation team? No. Did mom care if we got rid of the spirits and cleansed the house? No. Her thing is like, if they leave me alone, like, we're chill. Like, it's totally fine. Makes
She's like,
makes
you can
sense.
terrorize my kids.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
grandkids.
But if you
No.
leave me alone,
Yeah.
We're good. But there was a time where she was walking down the hallway to her room, and I don't remember what it said, but she heard a very clear, loud voice in her ear. It was like, look over here, or like, look at me. And she looked and was like, ooh,
Yeah.
bye. And like just went to her room. So yeah, our parents are definitely way more ballsy than we are. They've lived in
Yeah.
so many more haunted houses than we have, and
they're like, you guys think this is haunted?
yeah,
Right.
exactly. They're like, this is so, just shut up, like, go to
And
bed.
mom sees it from more of like a positive point of view. Our viewers might know Matt Frazier. He
Mhm.
has another side to the quote unquote hauntings or ghosts that she really like. This is just an example. If you guys happen to know him, um, loved ones. It's good. It's love. It's godly. Like that kind of thing. Rarely is it something super evil and
Yeah.
malevolent. It's usually something misunderstanding. So, um, being being able to stay here for 7 years, I know there's some people who would be like, absolutely not. Could I live in a house that's like that? But mom, both of our parents have always said, this is our house and you can choose to cohabitate or you can leave. Like, this is our house, our space. But just to kind of, if you guys are experiencing hauntings yourself, a couple of our tried and true ways of cleansing houses. My favorite way, easy, fast, effective, is burning Palo Santos. That's my all-time, boom, roasted. White sage, sweetgrass, sweetgrass. Yeah, sweetgrass sage is also really good.
White candles. White
Lighting
candles are
white
important.
candles.
When you are cleansing, make sure that your doors and windows are open. Just kind of cleansing that energy, anything. Make sure
Like
that you actually,
drawers.
yeah, drawers can be open as well. Yeah, that's something that when the new reality came and did the cleansing, they made sure like everything was open and cleansed. Um, Also, yeah, so lighting light candles, really bringing in your, if you're spiritual, if you're religious, whatever it is, your divine, your source, bringing them in to help strengthen that, like through prayer or uh, different cantings where you could really get that energy cleansed out. That's incredibly important.
Yes. I do, if it's like on past houses, I've done like a salt water spray,
Mhm.
walls, like floor to ceiling, floor to ceiling furniture, like a whole, like almost like a salt bath for the house, and then lining the windows, door frames, um, corners of the room, and actually saying things, like saying it with intention.
Mhm.
So I know there's all that, I don't want to say mumbo jumbo, but so many people are like, wellness, you have to do manifestations. But when you're in, think about like you're pushing out energy. You can't see the negative energy that has compiled in your room from having a bad day, a bad week, a bad year. It might not be paranormal, it might just be your own shedded energy. And think about when you're saying something with your voice, with your words, you're pushing it, pushing it,
Mhm.
pushing it out. And like Kayla said, windows, doors open. I like to have a fan, bathroom fans as well, just suck it all out, all the
And also putting the lights on, like literally bringing like light and love into your space,
into, yeah,
like getting rid of the negativity and bringing in your own light and love. And something else that I always say is really important to anyone who asks me about cleansing is you need to clean your space also. Like I always clean and declutter our home or like my room or anything before I cleanse it, because if you don't, there's a very likely chance that like pile of energy, of negative energy, is just going to go to where it can, and energy will build up on clutter,
yeah. I
and
will say,
chaos.
I will um, throw in my 2 cents, because there's, in my brain, I don't know if any other people struggle with this. In my brain, I'm like, okay, if the house is not perfectly spotless, if everything is not perfectly organized, then I cannot cleanse until all of this is done. So it's like the not rabbit, hamster wheel in my brain. So I will begin a cleansing. If I haven't cleaned, I'll use Palo Santos on me, strictly on me, and say I need to clear myself, because my headspace is not, my spirit is not, my heart is not, whatever. And it can be as easy as I just need to bathe myself in smoke, quote unquote. I need to say a positive mantra. I need to say a prayer. I need to listen to a happy song. All of those things can clear out the energy. Um, I know we mentioned white candles. White candles are wonderful for fortifying that um, protective, pure light and love in whatever your belief may be. Um, it's just another way to strengthen that um, barrier.
Yeah.
And another thing too is to do the what's it called? The corners of your land. Don't leave your land out.
Yeah.
With sage, any type of sage, do your research.
Make sure it fits in your culture. If your culture exclusively uses it, then you're good. Make sure that you're not infringing on someone else's culture when you're using a certain type of sage. And that goes for any type of spiritual work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Just do your checks.
And there's things like I've read about it. I've seen it on TV where psychics will comment on, oh, someone had all the good intentions of cleansing their space, but they happened to just do this particular thing wrong, and it was more of like a opposite effect. So
it like backfired.
Yeah, so there's things like that to keep in mind as well.
Yeah. And just honestly, what I also tell people is do what feels natural and right for you. Because literally, like, if you do believe in like angels or spirit guides or anything like that, they're gonna literally guide you exactly which direction to go, what to do, and just like really trust your intuition. So yeah, those are some ways that you can cleanse your space, and definitely if you feel really negative or you feel overwhelmed or stressed out or a lot of anxiety, cleanse your space. Do it. It's a good time. I feel better after.
Absolutely. And I know we mentioned real quick, I know we mentioned us using dowsing rods and a recording device. That is not a standard, and it can be dangerous, and we absolutely do not recommend anybody try that in their homes. Especially
unless you do research.
Unless you do research, and unless you're, studied and know how to protect your space and yourself.
Yeah. Be careful. If you're going to do any kind of paranormal investigating, be careful. If you want more tips, listen to our ghost hunting episode. So we give some good fun tips in that one as well. But yeah, just do research on stuff before you use it, because it can be dangerous. Like, any kind of divination tool can be dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So be
It could be
careful.
dowsing rods. It could be a deck of cards.
Yeah, I have a coin.
It could be a coin.
It could be a coin.
Say.
Yeah, it could be a Ouija board. It could be anything. Something as simple as a coin to something as, popular as a Ouija board. Be very careful.
That is all for today's episode. Thank you, Twisted listeners, for tuning in. We all appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys have any creepy stories about your house or your mom's house or anything like that, we definitely want to know. Send us messages. You can follow us on TikTok or Instagram at _3 Twisted Sisters. If you're not watching this on YouTube, our YouTube is 3 Twisted Sisters Podcast. And if you want, you can send us an email to our email, 3 Twisted Sisters Podcast @gmail.com. If you have any creepy stories, let us know. We want to hear them.
Absolutely. And we hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend, and you take care and stay twisted.
Bye.
Bye.